Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode on Perspectives on How to Travel. My name is Mohammed Hanif Danladi, and together with me is Abubakar. And for Abubakar, for those of the people out there that don't know you and what can you say about yourself?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, my name is ABUBAKAR, NINGI, and I'm an IT guy, farmer. Yes, mostly specialized in cybersecurity and networking. Yes, that's also about it.
Okay, Abubakar. So, let's start with the story, right? Um, what was the most important choice you made that changed your direction in life?
Well, I think the most important choice I made in my life is actually stepping out. I used to be a very lazy person. I didn't take things seriously and all of that. Yeah. But then I think maybe adulthood really, made me have a different view of life. And I just stepped up. I changed the way I do things. I focused more on tasks. I took things more seriously. And well, alhamdulillah, yeah, here we are.
That's interesting. Could you even, if you could highlight back to childhood, could you even think like that shifting moment where you just feel like you need to step back? Can you highlight a story or particular scene in your life?
Yeah, it doesn't go back to my childhood. Even though, yeah, I had quite a funny motivation to my childhood. But it was really a moment where I saw how my mom was hardworking and trying to just make sure that I finished my studies and graduated with good result and all. We went out together to my mom and dad, and I saw how much she was willing to make sacrifices to see that I am comfortable in school, that I get to finish my studies. And that particularly just made me feel like I owe it to her to finish my studies well and to make her proud. That was the life changing. It was in my 11th year. I was paid back to school 11th year. I actually went out to buy some stuff for me to go out to school. And just since then, since that gesture that she did, that was just the changing moment to give me the drive to change and be better.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So coming back, you studied computer science and all the checks. How was it like during your time?
Yes, well, I'll say it was quite interesting. And even though I was already experienced with my computers, I've learned them at a very early age. But then learning more about them and going deep into them, programming languages and all that, I got to understand that it's not as simple as it seems. There is more to computers because it is, was started across the computer science. You get to see the things that are happening behind the scenes. We are mostly more focused on what we see on our screens. Yes, exactly. We don't know what's happening behind our screens. So actually interesting knowing that when I type this or when I send this particular command to a system, this is how the system processes this is how it's the workflow and processes are just flow all together. So it was very, even though it was hard, it was really hard to balance this because learning is not an easy thing to, yes, it's not an easy thing to do. And also, what's this to spend time to again? Also, our office. That was the question again.
What was it? What was the shift? You have studied computers. Yes. So how was it? Like the experience in your?
Yes, it was really great. Even though, yeah, exactly. This is the point I wanted to make. I believe that there are some few changes that would need to be syllabus. Okay. When everybody tells you about specializing in a particular course, a particular field, is it's a very new field. Right? People just think, we as IT professionals, we're supposed to know everything about computer.
Exactly. The funny thing is, even me went out of going to university, nobody told me that the software engineer, this is what they do over there.
Exactly.
It's okay. Yeah.
And
But going back to my childhood, I really like iron. So I think, like, according to my own hypothesis and my theories, and hot electrical engineering was the way to. Yeah. The later on I get to know about software engineering, and I realized, there are a lot of things that need to be, like, software engineering is just at, like, broad. How do I say? Computer science for you guys like fathers, right? So software engineering is like one of the specialized aspects of computer science. So it was interesting to, like,
But I believe even on this, even in software engineering, there are things you can specialize in anyway. So I think people think that if I'm a computer science graduate and IT graduate, then it automatically means I'm supposed to know everything regarding Python, computing, and all that. But that's not it. Everyone is specialized in this particular field. Yeah, it's good to have an overall knowledge, basic knowledge of everything. It's necessary, it's important in IT. So, but then specialization is very important, and schools need to teach kids that. And kids need to understand that there are different fields. The blue field, there is networking, there is networking, particularly in the cybersecurity. There's IT support. That's basically what I do. Yeah, yes, what's basically what I do. Yeah, it's basically IT support. But then it's also something that is specialized on. Okay, network engineer probably not be able to go to be it is. So for those of the kids that watch it, maybe probably at home thinking, what should I specialize in? Or what should I venture into in my university years? What advice can you give them? Well, I'll say they should focus more on what aligns with their nature, not aligns with their value. If you feel like you're someone that loves helping people, I think IT support is for you again, because you get to directly impact people's interactions with computers. You get to help them understand their computers well. Yeah. Like I said, it's all depends on what are some of you. If you feel like creativity is something, then you can venture into UI or UX or web design and all that. If it's making connections up, how you can think of networking and all of that. So it all depends on what aligns with you, what you understand more is good. Yeah, if you go through your particular course and you see that they do understand this course well and I want to know more about it, then that might be a changing moment. And telling you about that course actually can actually be the driving factor of choosing or going. So they are one of the.
And I want to check something, like, with the way you and I, as tech professionals, like, with the way the world is changing, as you said, like, they should find something that aligns to them, right?
Yes.
But with the advent of AI, AI is taking over, like, some children, so people think that AI is taking over, whereby in another sense, it's like it's changing or shaping the way we work.
Yes.
Think of, I usually give this scenario, this another job. Before, if people want to take a scenario, be it in a movie or whatever,
yes,
they need a helicopter, probably a pilot,
yes,
and probably the cameraman to take it. But now all of those jobs will take it. So instead of you going to to specialize in that, you can be good in how to use drones, because drones are taking over the other things.
yes.
So for those of them watching now, thinking, okay, AI is about to take over everything, what advice are you going to give them with the experience you have? I wouldn't say, like, because we started in an era when AI wasn't that much of a thing.
Yes.
When we started,
if you're talking in the Nigerian sense, I believe AI is still yet to be dominant in the Nigerian tech industry. Not yet. We are still a long way to go because we are still yet to adapt to a lot of new technologies. Yes, we are still yet to adapt to them and to start utilizing it and make our lives more efficient. So I think AI is not yet. It's not even a threat, actually. It's not even a threat to studies. I think it's not that I think it makes our lives easier. It makes our lives easier. It makes our lives more efficient. There are a lot of things that you needed to spend a lot of hours doing before. And now AI is the task for us. We have robots that can clean your environment for you to even you can even call a washing machine. Yeah, because so to meet it up, because someone needs to do that job with their hand before they sit down in the morning, wash your clothes, and all them. But now we have technology that can do a lot of us. Yeah, that can do
And even like, ChatGPT,
exactly.
what's kidding. People have had this, like, it's so annoying, like, people just use ChatGPT to copy paste without even, there's this analogy or concept of use it as your sparring partner, to improve your brain instead of it, like, to give out your brain to it. Because
Absolutely.
people, like, some people copying everything that gives them on top, check it whether it's
I have seen newspapers that post the entire responses of AI. And so, after you prompt an AI model to do something for you, at the end of the day, to ask you a question like, should I make it more, should I explain more about it? I've seen an actual newspaper, a page in a newspaper where someone topic everything that the AI is doing. It was literature. So we have to use it efficiently. We shouldn't depend on.
Yeah. And there's an interesting research that was done. People, like, there was a group separated, and the group, like, two groups. The first group, they used ChatGPT. Was it ChatGPT or any other language like that to answer question? While the others used AI. So when they came out after the exams, it's like a test with exams per se. So when they came out, the people that used ChatGPT, they were asked about the questions. They couldn't even remember. While the people that didn't, can you imagine? They couldn't even remember the question.
Yes, exactly.
So while the people that the people that were using their head,
Yes,
thinking,
of course.
they remember it. And there's this, like, scared studies across the internet that, like, AI is somehow somewhat causing dementia. We sense that people, like, we are not using our brain, and the brain is like the muscle. And when you use it more, because we are not using it to really climb.
Yes.
And it might cause this dementia or Alzheimer's like that.
Yes.
So, as we said, this is so scary. So, what's a framework or tool that you can be able to share with our young ones here out there thinking of what to, like, the frameworks, like, there's this confusion of what to choose, right?
Well, the career path.
Yeah, the career path to choose. Yes, after they choose the path, like, instead of using, it's good to use as they said in the video, but if you don't use it in that way, like, if you don't use it, you will be left behind. But if you use it too much without using your brain, use it efficiently. Let's use it efficiently. So for those watching, thinking of venturing to computer science, what can you say to them?
Well, I'd say they should,
Like, if you like, if you take away for that.
yes, I think they should focus more on learning in the classic way, in the traditional way.
Okay.
Learning from books. So practicing things instead of being stuck, rather than going to ChatGPT and asking them question after you're stuck in a code or solving a problem.
You think create when you first learn stuff or
stress your brain up. After you can't, before you even go into ChatGPT and go back to your books, you can check resources online. YouTube is literally a school.
You can literally,
Everything you can find.
Yeah.
It's just that ChatGPT narrows it down for you because it comes through resources online to arrive at an answer. So basically, it's something that as well, it's more optimized than the rest of it. So you go directly and find the answer you're looking for. So, but then there are a lot of resources that you can use. There are a lot of websites. There is this Cisco website that they can learn from, netaccount.com. You can learn courses in Coursera. There are a lot of free courses where you can learn. And there are paid courses where you can pay and get certified after learning. And it's always about certification. You should focus more on learning what you are actually learning, rather than just focusing on the certificate. So a lot of people make the mistakes of just paying for the certificate just to get the certificate. But for me, I'd rather have the skill and knowledge than have a certificate, because the skill and knowledge is what we actually learn, not that certificate. Because I might not even be able to get the certificate if I don't have the necessary skills prepared for having the certificate. So I believe people should, like I said, people should focus more on practicality and traditional use of brain and use your brain. Stress it out. Just the same way that you stress out your muscle and then allow it to rest. Yeah, then it goes. That's the same way for your brain. To learn the same way for your brain. To recognize it, how would I put it? It's like you said, it's a muscle in itself. Yeah, it's to learn itself. Yeah. So the more you teach it in what works, yeah, the more you work it out, the more it improves. Yeah. So rather than focusing on ChatGPT, everything, if you need a message to compose to your uncle or to your supervisor or to your friend or family, some people can't even compose a common some message to just share their emotion to someone. Thank God we will bring that. Like, isn't you have a friend, right? Yes. You know, those like grammatical errors, some things like that are what makes like the chat interesting. Also, because there are chat that your friend will just send it to you, you know, that's nothing. And I was like, that's nothing. Because you see someone, we are just having our normal conversation. So why are you making it forward? Exactly. Why are you being too forward? Just I'm not making it. That's not how you are as a exactly. So why is it that I'm going to text think you're different? You say because if it's okay to use things to correct your grammar at all. Yeah, maybe if it's something formal or you want to communicate a message across to a lot of people, but it's okay to finish typing it to yourself. For man to use your head, draft it to yourself. Yeah, it's okay to use ChatGPT even to correct your presentation, but then be the one draft it yourself. It should be him. Yes, ChatGPT. It should be coming directly from actually easier for us to present everything. Let me give you an example of a presentation that I made during my master's. Yeah. Our group was, I think it was this course regarding network security. Yeah. There is this presentation where we can, how to improve the network, the security of, hospitals database. Yeah. So I drafted everything on paper. I actually drafted things myself and drafted it on paper. And the moment I started the presentation, I was looking at my paper, but I couldn't say anything. I just wanted to. What I did was just squeeze the paper and I just felt fear about myself. And I think out of 10, I got an 8 or 9 in the presentation. And if to say I focused on using that paper, I wouldn't have got to that because the moment I started looking at that paper, it was looking like I wasn't even born that drafted this. I was absolutely confused. So I just squeezed the paper and put it in my pockets. I just cleared my hair for like 10 seconds. And then I just started feeling. And he was actually impressed. And there was a particular thing that I mentioned that the lecturer was very impressed with. And even after I finished the presentation, he said that it resonated with him because nobody else mentioned that particular threats that exist in such systems. Because you might able to use your head and think and what I mean for and just think rather than what I scripted for myself. I scripted it myself, but then still it was better for me to flow perfectly. I can relate it to the case. Yes. Of recent, I think like not more like less than a month ago, I had a speech. Yes. For New Italy University. Yeah. They invented the answer yes, cover home speech. Yeah. So people were advising me to like write it in their mind. I was like, what is the like where is the fun? Where is the interesting connection between me and the audience? Because if I script everything, I will just go, hi, my name is blah 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 blah. The advantage you should what information you have how we that is not in the script. That's true. Should I be like I'm not prepared. Yes. I'm not prepared. Yes. But to go there to be able to communicate with them, to try to understand. Exactly. It's money to be better, to be easier for you to communicate with me. Exactly. To be easier for you to answer questions. To be easier for you to tell. Yes. Even the presentation will be more interesting, have more impact, significant impact on the audience. Yes. Rather than you just put that. Because you just feel like it's a robot. Yes. Scripted, reading a scripted piece. Absolutely. You know, it's one of the basics. It's one of the basics of IT support. You have to be empathic with whoever you are helping with a task or something. You can't just build your system to me as you are facing social problem or just tell you to just sit down, just to be I have to communicate with the way that I mean, like understand that it's only a big problem. It's a problem that we can solve in a few minutes. And if you're seated there waiting for them, I will use some words or methods to make you feel more comfortable and rather than just nobody gets written.
No good.
So that's when that empathic sense, and yeah, that's when that empathic sense comes, because you also don't like to look at routine. So at least, even though I'm working for helping you out with a task, it doesn't mean I have to keep you waiting or have to make you comfortable. So I can engage you in a conversation while I'm teaching your assistant, or while I'm studying something late, and engage you in a conversation. Or so the more you relate to people, the more everything is easier for both of you. Yes. So rather than just following a certain script, or just doing things for a little bit, or two things, rather than just always focus on it, sometimes it's better to just be yourself, feel naturally. Yeah. Much more easier. Yes, than trying to do something. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
So powerful.
Yes.
So for those watching, ABUBAKAR NINGI is saying you should be a human, not a synthetic robot.
Yeah.
So, and I asked, yeah, I am one in the suit, not just the suit. And we have a closing tradition of ABUBAKAR NINGI,
Yes.
whereby we take a 10-second, which is a time limit.
Yes.
We should close our eyes, please.
Okay.
We should take a deep breath, breathe in hope, and breathe out fear. And ladies and gentlemen, we should remember that we are winning even on the days it feels we are not. Thank you so much for working with me.
All right.
I really appreciate you.
All right.
And I will link his social media in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and goodbye.
Thank